Welcome to episode 46 of the New Billable Hour podcast. Today's topic is be vulnerable. Let's get started with 3 breaths together. So exhale everything. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Again, inhale. Exhale. Last one, inhale and exhale. The topic for the month is lawyer love. So every week I'm talking about something about your heart or love or something like that. And last week I talked about opening your heart. This week I want to talk about being vulnerable. And this seems very scary and not what lawyers do. But the problem is, as you know from my talks about the imposter syndrome and wearing a mask, if we have this hard shell, we're hiding and we can't ever be happy. We are not really connected with the world around us. And so today I want to talk about being vulnerable. And that sounds really scary because it is. But you don't have to go all in. That's what's great about it. It's little by little. I think about a lawyer in the New Billable Hour community who brings up, she's like, there was a drop of some liquid that came out of my eye when we did the meditation. And I was like, that's a tear. You're crying. And she's like, no, I don't cry. And so whether you're a man or a woman, crying may not be on your repertoire, and you don't need to do it in public. But what about being vulnerable? Being vulnerable when you feel safe, mostly being vulnerable with yourself. That's what I want to impart on you that will help you balance out everything else. Because we're often, as I always say, we're often outward and trying to fix things and trying to do things, and that will not lead ultimately to a balanced life. We have to turn inward, and a big part of going inward is being vulnerable to ourselves and getting to know our soft spots, are literally our vulnerabilities, and getting to know what we need, what we want, what we need to fix, what we love about ourselves, what we don't like, and kind of be friends with those parts of us and find the good in all of us, in all parts of us. So vulnerability is about being soft, like we talked about last week, having an open heart, letting in joys and happiness, and also letting go of hurts. And the thing is, letting go of hurts, there's a stop in that path that we don't like, and that is actually feeling the hurts. So if we keep the hurts all locked up in a box and, past failures or not good enough thoughts, and we keep them locked up, they can't move through. And if we become vulnerable and we soften enough to let them move through, we can create space for the life you want. And so vulnerability is actually great strength. And if you can think of somebody you really admire, I am sure that person is in touch with their vulnerability, or at least working on it. And that's the path that we're on. We're working on it. What your vulnerability looks like is not the same as the next person. It just means you're moving in the direction of softening, of allowing others to see you when you feel safe, and allowing yourself to see yourself, if that makes sense. Seeing who you really are, getting to know yourself, which it's an overwhelming thought. So little by little. And then what the future holds, once you can do that, you can bring this into your law practice. You can bring this into your management of your law firm. So when you are connecting with your staff, when you're helping them, you can role model these things with your clients. If you can learn how to be vulnerable with boundaries, you can really help clients also be vulnerable. And this is about trust. This is not about bleeding a heart and about drama, which we're going to talk about in another episode. This is about you getting soft enough to trust yourself, and therefore being a role model for those around you. So that vulnerability is great strength, great strength. And if you can find that vulnerability, you can manage better in the legal profession. And I know it sounds weird because it's like we have to be so rough, we have to be so aggressive, and that's how the system's been set up. Well, first of all, we should change the system. And I always say that, but with the system we have, there's ways to do litigation with vulnerability, with how much time are we spending not processing, not being vulnerable, and being reactive to what opposing counsel does, or what the government does, or or what the clients are doing. If we could be vulnerable in what we're doing and honest and showing up, then that's the magic of it, right? We take away that element that it's an outside force that is causing our problems, our woes, our discomfort, because we are taking ownership of ourselves. We are going to that deep place, that soft place that we need to go to, that we have been fighting off for so long. I'm telling you, because I'm there. I was going to say I've been there. I'm there. I'm working on getting out of this cycle of constantly pushing everything away and finding liability elsewhere. And so this vulnerability is hard work, and it takes practice, it takes courage, it takes strength, and the payoffs are tremendous, like anything, right? We can chip away at our armor, and with this vulnerability, we can just be so strong. No one can hurt us if we're vulnerable. That seems counterintuitive. But when we're wearing that armor, when we are not ourselves, people can attack us and we will hurt. But when you're vulnerable, true vulnerability, not weak, not a pushover, but true vulnerability where you know who you are, you know what your strengths are and your weaknesses, and you're showing up for the greater good and for yourself, that is true strength. And that comes from vulnerability. So be vulnerable, my dear lawyers and listeners, and let's end with 3 breaths together. So exhale everything. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. And last one, inhale and exhale. Thanks for being here. So, as you know, I'm doing a promotion. Maybe you don't know that if you schedule a consultation with me, it's a free consultation via Zoom where we can talk about what's going on with you and if I can be of any help. But either way, you'll get a free copy of my book, Changing Some Things. You can also buy my book, but that is the way to get it free from me. I just thought that would be a fun thing to do. And then I get to talk to you. So the link to my calendar is in the show notes, and I will see you soon. Bye. Thanks for watching the video, and thanks for sticking around. Before you go, I think you have one more task to do. I have a free library membership that contains the New Billable Hour book, all these podcast episodes all in one place, other videos, meditations, print materials, checklists, all your favorites. All you have to do is go to my website, www.newbillablehour.com. Go now, newbillablehour.com. Just sign up. Just put in your name and your email and sign up. All right, see ya.